Welcome to the Retro Video Store Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Retro Video Store Podcast. I'm your host, Eric.
Hi, Eric.
And that's my co-host, Neil.
I'm Neil, and who's so gosh darn excited to be here? He shaved his face.
Dave's here.
Dave is here. It's been a while. We have not heard from you in a little bit. How have you been?
Good. Just been out working. I'm back. Excited to be on the show.
I'm surprised with the disrespect you were throwing around earlier.
And I have a beef to pick with you, too. So I'm just, whenever you're ready for me to pick my beef with you, let me know.
Let's start it with a hot take. Go ahead, David.
Pick away.
Yeah. What is your guys' problem with Christian Bale Batman? I listened to that bullshit, and I'm just saying I think you're wrong. And that's all I'm going to say is you had a lot of smack to talk about him. Why would you talk that way?
I think
do my impression of your Batman.
Yeah, you just see his mouth is open constantly, and he's just not a really good physical presence as Batman, especially even in he's kind of buff in Batman Begins. He's thinner in The Dark Knight Rises, and thinner in The Dark Knight, and even more thin in The Dark Knight Rises. And I don't know. I think he's a good Bruce Wayne, but not a great Batman. Ben Affleck. Even though I'm not a huge Ben Affleck fan, he looked big and buff and like he could kick your ass in Batman vs. Superman. And he was the only thing that was good about Batman vs. Superman.
And they made the sparkly vampire guy like a badass angry detective. So he was like really good at that. Christian Bale had none of that. He didn't even have hockey pads.
Yeah. I stand by my assessment that I like the movie. I think it's a good movie, but as it has aged, it hasn't held up over time for me.
All right. It was good having you here today, David. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Let me just log off now. That's all I want to say. That's my one beef is I love that movie. And I think Christian Bale's an awesome Batman. I've agreed with 99.98% of everything else you two idiots have said on this podcast for the last couple of years. I mean, I wholeheartedly agree every time you speak, even you, Neil.
Hurtful. It was hurtful that you disagreed that one time. Hurtful.
That's all I'm going to say.
All right. So, well, glad you were here to bring us your take on Batman.
Yeah.
It's okay to be wrong.
I know neither one of you guys gives a shit, but I'm going to speak my mind. I've got a new outlook on life, and I'm not going to be bullied by you two. And I do have a funny bully story when we get into this movie.
Oh yeah, I'm dying to hear your stories about fighting in high school.
I love that even David does the New Mexico shit.
Shit.
Yeah,
it's good. Nice.
Mm-hmm. So David normally has a beard. He looks like a mountain man, but today he's clean shaven. And he looks like a little kid. So
he's got a candy bar in the back of my van vibe right now.
Yeah. This skin hasn't seen sun in a long time.
He looks like a young Jerry Mitchell in this movie.
And he wins.
Fuck is Jerry Mitchell?
What? He wins the fight.
Yeah, it wasn't his name Jerry Mitchell, the protagonist of 3 O'Clock High.
It was
Jerry Mitchell. Yeah.
It was Jerry Mitchell?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, today we're talking about 3 O'Clock High from 1987, which is an underseen 80s movie, which I enjoy, and I think it has a decent cult following, and it's definitely different than a lot of your typical John Hughes-like 80s movies. But before we jump into that, we'll do what we always do. And since David is here, we'll start with David. David, what did you watch this week?
So I haven't watched anything in weeks, right? So I sit down this week and I thought, I'm going to watch something. What is it that I'm going to watch for the first time in weeks? And I decided for $1.99, I was going to rent Madam Web. And
what a mistake.
Yeah, listen. I thought for $1.99, I was going to watch Madam Web and get a chance to, just see how Sydney Sweeney's doing. 5 minutes in, I wanted to stab myself in the fucking face and had full of regrets. But I stomached through that movie, and it is awful. And I can't imagine they're going to make a sequel. So I haven't watched anything in about 3.5, 4 weeks, whatever it's been. And that's the one fucking thing I decided to watch was Madam Web, and I hate myself.
I can't believe you picked that.
I'm surprised he didn't say porn. When he came out and said Madam Web, so surprised.
There are way more things with Sydney Sweeney in it that show more of Sydney Sweeney that would be better than to watch Madam Web.
Yeah, but I noticed that it price slash from the rental was $19.99 to $1.99. So I thought
that didn't warn you. That wasn't a red flag about the movie.
Well, I know that it gets 3.8 stars. So I mean, I knew it was bad, but I thought, let me just see this for myself, and I did, and I have regrets. That's 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. And I got bullied by Amazon Prime. So
Amazon Prime will soon be offering people money to watch it. We'll give you a $20 credit if you tune in to see this flick.
It is that bad.
Wow.
Neil, what have you watched?
Amazon Prime did you wrong. All right, so I am a little bit disappointed because I wanted to watch a movie too that has gotten awful reviews. I kept trying to find showtimes around the area for Boy Kills World.
Oh yeah.
It looks uber violent, and I'm all down for that. And it'd be like there's a theater like 20 minutes down the way. We go to buy tickets for it. It's like, oh, there's tickets at $11.50. We go on. There's no more showing. They're just canceling them right and left. So I wanted to go see a movie this morning. I was completely robbed. But all week long, I tuned in for the hype. And instead of watching movies, I watched a couple episodes of Fallout every night this week.
How is it?
It's good. It really is. It really, really is.
It's a huge hit on Amazon. People, they're really loving that movie. Or loving that series. Sorry, loving that series.
Yeah, I watched it before I left for my assignment, so I guess I did. That was the last thing. Neil, I agree. It's really good.
Yeah, it is, and I love that there's a lot of things that they throw in. If you've played the games, which I've played one of them. It got my son so geared up. He's gone and downloaded a whole bunch of them on his Xbox. But I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Very nice.
All right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Eric, what about you?
I was really looking for something to watch yesterday, and I watched part of Saving Private Ryan the other day and really enjoyed it. I can sit through that movie for like the first 45 minutes, and then once they start looking for Private Ryan, I always tune out just because it's not as compelling as the first 45 minutes, which is amazing filmmaking. And I'm like, well, let's watch a horror movie. And I was in the mood for like a slasher movie. So my wife and I, Jamie and I, sit down. Your sister, Jamie, my wife, we sat down and watched X, the first of the T.I. West trilogy. And I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It was a slow burn. It took exactly 1 hour to get to the kills, but once the kills started happening, it was pretty good. Kind of interesting that Mia Goth played the two characters in the movie. I won't spoil it, but there was plenty of nudity, which is nice. Some not so nice because there was some old people nudity in the movie, but overall it was pretty good, nice and gory, good kills. And I want to watch Pearl next, the prequel. Then when Maxine comes out in July, I want to see that too. So T.I. West has got a good trilogy going on, and I was surprised how much I liked it. Slow burn. So I'm in this slasher mode right now where I'm trying to watch, slashers of all different decades. I wanted to start watching House on Sorority Row, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on that one. It just seems so bad, but I probably will.
Well, both you guys, after like hearing you talk about it in the thread, have got me kind of interested in these movies. So should you do X first and then do the prequel, or are they much better just to watch like in the order they're supposed to be?
I would watch X first because you wouldn't really know about the character that's featured in Pearl until you see X. So watch X first.
Okay.
Yeah. I do enjoy was it House of the Devil? That's the first T.I. West movie where they hire the lady to be like the babysitter, but there's actually no baby. And then he did a movie, The Innkeepers, which was pretty good. So, he did Cabin Fever 2, Biohazard, I think is what it's called, or something that I've never watched that one, but now I kind of want to go back and watch it. He's an interesting director. He really likes those long shots of like an empty space where either somebody eventually moves into frame. It's kind of very Texas Chainsaw Massacre like in the setting and stuff. But I thought it was good. I'd watch it again. David, you need to watch House of the Devil. Or no, sorry, not House of the Devil. Late Night with the Devil. You got to watch Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, the found footage one. The found footage one that you were talking about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really good. Check it out.
Okay. I've actually added it to my watch list.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just in the slasher mode. We had such a good time with Prom Night last week that I just want to watch more slasher movies. But this is 80s month. Last month we talked about the ritual that is prom, and I forgot to ask Neil, did you go to prom while you were in high school?
No. I went to go because I was seeing a young lady from Farmington at that point, but was told that I would not be allowed to purchase a ticket. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. I don't know why. They would not let me purchase a ticket to the event, so I did not go.
Huh. Yeah. David, how about you? Prom?
I went to one.
To one?
Yeah.
Nobody got murdered?
No
slasher in a bejeweled black ski mask lopping people's heads off?
Just my hopes and dreams got murdered that night. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I went to three proms.
You did?
My junior year, my senior year. Then I took Jamie to her prom. I felt like the old man there because I was 19. No, I was still 18 then. And then she was 17. But yeah, felt like felt a little too old for that. But yeah, I went to prom. Another overrated high school experience. But let's talk about another experience.
Going back as an adult to take an underage girl to prom, huh, Eric?
I know. It's very Farmington, I know. Cruising the high schools.
All right.
But we actually met at work, so I didn't cruise the high schools. Remember young David? He was about 14 that time. Do you remember me showing up, David?
Yeah. I had hopes and dreams at that time too.
Yeah.
My life. Yeah.
But the other experience in high school is getting into a fight. And this is what this movie is all about. 3 O'Clock High from 1987. This movie is a very 80s movie. It is just the fashions and the hairstyle and everything just is very 1987, the kind of like later part of the decade where everybody's hair got really, really big. Lots of jean jackets everywhere.
Acid wash,
yes, definitely. Neil, you want to hit us with the Internet Movie Database tagline there?
A nerd gets himself in hot water with a new bully, a quiet bad boy who challenges him to a fight on the grounds of their high school after the day's end.
Yeah. Sounds like somebody has a crush on Buddy Revell, who wrote the wrote the tagline there. He's a quiet bad boy.
Quiet bad boy. The kind who doesn't wear hockey pads.
I'm not wearing hockey pads. Yeah. Directed by Phil Joannou, who was this is his first movie. Steven Spielberg actually produced this movie, but then took his name off the producing credits because it didn't fit what he had in mind with the original movie. He wanted it sort of to be like a Karate Kid underdog story, not like a hectic day in the life portrayal that it is. And Phil Joannou went on and directed his next movie, which gives us the opportunity to tell our joke. He directed Rattle and Hum with U2 as his next movie.
Just do it.
All right. Just do it. Bono and the Edge, they go to the bar. And the bartender says, Not you two again. And also, Bono says, every time I clap my hands, a child dies in Africa.
Stop clapping your hands, you cunt.
It's my favorite joke. I love that joke. Every time we get a chance to say it, I got to say it. And he did a movie called State of Grace with Gary Oldman, which is actually a really good movie with Sean Penn. It kind of got was released the same week as Goodfellas, so it kind of got pushed under the radar there.
It was a good movie, though. I agree.
We did Final Analysis with Richard Gere and Kim Basinger, which I barely remember. Heaven's Prisoners with Alec Baldwin and Kelly Lynch. Don't remember that one. Did a movie called Entropy. I don't know. And it stars Bono, a 1999 film directed by Phil Joannou starring Stephen Dorff and featuring Irish rock band U2. Not U2 again. Then he did a movie called Gridiron Gang with Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Exhibit. And The Rock looks very thin. That's when he was trying to be a real actor, when he decided to slim down and kind of do that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden he's like, nope, got to jump on that HGH Fast and Furious bandwagon. The Punisher, Dirty Laundry. I never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a short film. Thomas Jane wanted to do The Punisher again, and so he does one with the Punisher, basically trying to wash his clothes, and some guys are messing around, and he takes a bottle of Jack Daniels and kills a couple guys. It's actually a fun little short film, but Thomas Jane should not be the Punisher. It should be the big dude who died from the Star Wars movies. That guy's Punisher was great.
Mm. Oh yeah, I remember. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody else there, riveting podcasting, because I don't know the name of the actor, but damn it, his was a good Punisher.
He did a boatload of videos, a lot of them for U2, and he did some Tom Petty. So you can tell because the directing and camera work in this movie is very music video like.
He did a lot of YouTube videos.
Say again.
He did a lot of YouTube videos looking at his history here.
Written by Richard Christian Matheson and Thomas Solozzi, who I didn't really look up. But the cinematography was by Barry Sonnenfeld. And Barry Sonnenfeld did a lot of Coen Brothers movies, and then he went on to do The Addams Family and Men in Black and stuff like that. So it looks really good for a low-budget movie. And the music was by Tangerine Dream, which have done a ton of soundtracks. The krautrock prog rock group responsible for a lot of the soundtracks like Legend and Manhunter and other movies from the 80s, very synth heavy soundtracks. They did see here, Sorcerer and Thief, two Michael Mann movies. Risky Business, Firestarter, Flashpoint, Heartbreakers, Legend, 3 O'Clock High, and Near Dark, which we just we did a episode on. So, yeah, quite a lot of those synth heavy 80s movies. But let's ask the question that we should be asking. David, did you get in a lot of fights in high school or in school?
Why do you ask me that?
I'll ask you first.
I got a couple.
Got a couple.
Yeah, I got none of them really turned out to be really successful, but God damn it, I stood my ground, and I stuck up for my family one time, and in return, my twin brother got jumped because they thought he was me, and when they said they were going to beat me up, I snuck out the front door, and he walked out the back, and they beat him, and then the next day they found me and beat me up in return, so it evened itself out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I got in a couple.
All right, Neil, I know this answer. Did you get in many fights in high school?
None. 0. I was a man of peace. I was well loved by all. Everyone admired my wit and my insight into the world and my just random musings about life. Not one single disagreement physically with another human in high school. How about you, Eric?
seem to remember you hitting a guy with your car while I was in it.
Okay, is that technically a fight though? And that makes it sound really bad. It makes it sound like I was trying to murder him. I was hoping you would fucking tell that story, but I wasn't trying to murder him.
He was a dick anyway, so
I was just I just wanted to give him a little nudge.
Yeah, because you had beef with him, and everybody had beef with him because he was kind of a jerk. But we were in your car in your Festiva, the Ford Festiva.
Dude, $5,000 paid for it, done. Boom, beautiful.
The car took us everywhere. You were in that car, and the guy stood in front of your car, and you told him to move, or you were gonna hit him, and he didn't do it. And then you went through with your promise.
I fucking smacked him with the car. Did he go onto the hood or did he go flying backwards?
I think he rolled onto the hood a little bit, and then he went onto the side.
And then I hit the brakes.
Yeah.
And then he flew off. See? Trained professionals, children. Now people are going to think really bad things about me. They're like, oh, that son of a bitch hits people with his car. It was a bump. It was a love tap.
Can I I was going to share a really funny story about egging my friend on to fight until he got his ass kicked.
Go ahead, let's tell it.
Well, I don't even know. It wasn't a fight, but we were standing outside at the shitty junior high that I went to. And I just remember there was this kid that would always hang out with us. And I think he was like on the spectrum or whatever, but he was different. But he had this extraordinary strength about him. And so I don't know mentally what happened.
I know what that kind of strength is called, but I'm not going to say it.
Eric's dragging everybody down, man. Jesus.
He was really strong. And my buddy was eating some sort of cupcake or treat that they, you could buy at the commissary afterwards. And I said something to him like, hey, so-and-so's talking about your mom. And the kid just hit him one time, and I thought he killed him because he hit him so hard. My buddy collapsed, and like his little sweet treat fell and like splattered on the ground, and he just lay there and like, oh my god, he just hit him with this full on strength special strength that nobody else has right now, and I got in trouble for that one.
Mm. I remember that's when fights were fights in junior high.
Yeah,
that's when the majority of fights that I was involved in happened. That was like a time to fight. Because back in our day, the teachers would let you fight for a little bit.
Yeah. Until
one really started getting taken advantage of the other, and they would finally break it up. But there was like the teachers really wanted to see it happen. Oh shit! Look, Hamilton's getting a fight.
You got to drag my name into this. What's going on? I don't get it.
They'd walk really slow to go break.
Yes, they would walk really slow to watch the fight.
Well, thank goodness I never got in anybody in any of those because.
I distinctly remember a kid. I was on one side of the fence, and this kid I didn't like was on the other side of the fence, and we're talking smack to each other. And he sticks his hand through the fence and flips me off, and I instinctively kicked his hand, like kicked it pretty hard. And I don't know if I broke his hand or something like that, but he was walking away crying with his hand all scrunched up and stuff like that. That had to be like 7th grade. That was
you horrific bully.
I know. And I dropped another kid on his head. Because I was big for my age, but I never I kind of peaked in like 7th grade and never grew any taller. But I would I picked a kid up and I accidentally dropped him on his head because he was heavier than I thought. And he landed on his head and he passed out and the bell rang and we all ran inside.
You just left him there?
Yeah, we just left him there. Then he comes in like stumbling in after class, like after the bell had rang, and they're like, "Hey, are you okay?" He's like, do you need to go to the nurse?" And yeah. Then
Please tell me he had a puddle of urine on his crotch, like he passed out, wet himself, and came stumbling in.
But I got swats for that. That was when they could punish you and not tell your parents. You would just get swats, and they would call it good, and then you didn't.
Those were the days.
I know. All right, I'll take swats.
25 minutes in, not one mention of the movie.
All right, so let's talk about the movie a little bit and put it in context of guys our age in the 80s. A fight was a big deal. Like, that's where the movie, I think, rings true. Is like, if you knew two kids had beef with each other and they were going to fight after school, that was awesome. It would, all the hype would go on and stuff like that. And was there Neil, you probably know, where was the place everybody fought in school?
Baseball Diamond.
Yep. 100%.
Go to the baseball diamond. That was Arroyo back down in there. Nobody, cars couldn't see. But then the neighbors started realizing that's why all the cars were there, and then they would start calling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if things got really bad, they would drive behind the 7-Eleven to the other baseball diamond near the Baptist church behind the 7-Eleven. Yes. That was like, oh, we're taking it off campus. Oh, man, anything could happen. Then the deputies would show up and everybody get in and run and drive away. Anyway, that was fun. But let's talk about poor Jerry Mitchell in this movie. When did you first see this movie, David?
Today.
Today? Really?
Yeah, today's the first time I've ever watched it.
What did you think?
I liked it. It was, and I drive by the school that it was shot at every day on the way to work. It's literally, it looks exactly the same. They can't change it. I think it's a historic building registered.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, this movie was shot at the Ogden High School in Ogden, Utah, and that's near where David lives. So it's kind of interesting, and you can definitely tell it's Utah by all the gigantic mountains in the background. Yep. Looks very, very Utah, and the fact that there's only like 3 minority kids this entire school, and everybody else is blonde.
Yeah,
blonde and blue eyed. Neil, how about you? When did you see this the first time?
I think I saw it in the theater.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I would just go see I would see anything though. It was just a chance to go to the movies. Mm-hmm. Pretty sure I saw this in the theater.
See, and I think that's one thing that you are way more adventurous about, going just straight to the movies and watching anything. I have to pre-vet the movie and like watch Siskel and Ebert back then, or read about it or something like that before. I was like, hey, let's go see this. I could never just go into a movie just blind. I remember one time we went to go see Barton Fink, and I took 2 friends with me, and I thought it would be good because it was Coen Brothers, and I really liked it, and they fucking hated it, and they never let me live it down for the next like 3 years. Hey, let's go see Barton Fink. They would give me shit about it forever. So, yeah. So it was released on October 9th of 1987.
It's kind of weird that like way back then you were recommending movies that maybe 2 of your friends didn't necessarily enjoy or like.
Yeah.
But that you've grown out of that.
Right. You definitely don't do that anymore.
I love to drag people into experiences when it comes to movies, like, is this good? Is it bad? Let's figure this out. It's an experience. Do you want to watch another Dario Argento movie? We haven't watched one in like a year. We definitely should.
It's funny though, because it just feels like the other day.
We could watch the Bay of Blood or something like that. Something fun. So this movie was not a financial success. Budget of $5 million, only made $3.6 million at the box office. Not very good, but it became a hit on home video and cable. And that's where I first saw this movie, was on premium cable.
Screw you.
This was on HBO quite a bit. And I remember really enjoying it and thought it was fun. And it was completely different than a lot of the typical John Hughes movies. One thing I liked about it is that the kids look like kids, even though Casey Siemaszko and Richard Tyson were both 25. Buddy Revell, Richard Tyson, definitely looks 25. Casey Siemaszko as Jerry looks about 18, so it's not that bad. But I like the way the people look like kids, and the fashions were of the time, and it's a movie that takes place in one day. I like a type of movie like that just kind of captures the day in the life of a person and gets up to that the showdown. So I thought it was pretty good. I think there's a few people that also agree.
I enjoyed looking at the outfits. Just really some of the dumb shit that we wore.
I liked his pseudo goth girlfriend named Franny Perrins.
Yeah, shocked at that. Shocked.
That was exactly the type of girl that I liked in high school. A little bit gothy, not quite, just Diet Coke goth. Didn't want to go all the way.
Beetlejuice.
Yes, that was the kind of girl that I was attracted to back in the day. You got to find yourself a goth girlfriend. Cast is Casey Siemaszko, or Siemaszko. I think that's what I'm saying, right? Siemaszko?
Siemaszko is how I always heard
Siemaszko, yeah. Casey Siemaszko is Jerry Mitchell. Anne Ryan is Franny Perkins, his parents, his girlfriend. Richard Tyson is Buddy Revell. And there's a couple of good character actors in there. Jeffrey Tambor as Mr. Rice. Philip Baker Hall is Detective Mulvihill. And John P. Ryan is Mr. O'Rourke. And an early showing of Mitch Pileggi as Duke, the school security guard. He was also as the Agent Skinner in the X-Files. That's what I remember him from. Let's talk about the fabulous work of Richard Tyson. And there's one movie in particular.
There's one movie in particular.
Neil, which movie am I thinking of?
I think you might be thinking of Two Moon Junction.
You are correct. Two Moon Junction is a American erotic romantic drama film written and directed by Zalman King, starring Sherilyn Fenn and Richard Tyson. Zalman King was responsible for a lot of spank bank material in my youth. He did what was it? He was responsible for 9.5 Weeks. And then he was responsible for Wild Orchid, Lake Consequence, Red Shoe Diaries, Delta of Venus, and lots of other softcore cinema from on Showtime back in the day. So rest in peace, Zalman King, who died February 3rd, 2012.
That's like a solemn day in your household.
I know.
Like there's a moment of respect is shown.
Yeah. Just that was a different era. A fun era. I think the movie is fun when it goes. Well, let's talk about the critical response. It's very short, Neil. Super short critical response.
Yeah, it's almost like people didn't care. The film earned mixed reviews and has a rotten rating of 57% on the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, based on 14 critical reviews. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 1 out of 4 stars, declaring the plot to be pretty stupid, and lamenting that the bully Buddy Revell, the most interesting character, was underdeveloped. In a retrospective review from 2016, critic Rob Hunter called the film a wildly inventive and energetic look at the failures and successes of a typical high school day, and it shapes the daydreams and anxieties in an exaggerated delight. The dark tone of the film contrasted with the other teen films of the time, so much so that executive producer Steven Spielberg removed his name from the credits. In 2017, Adrian Halen wrote that 3 O'Clock High was released in an era where The Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and National Lampoon's Vacation, Weird Science were the general norm for moviegoers.
I don't really think this movie is that dark.
I don't think it is either. Everybody at some point in their school career has had something happen at the beginning of the day, and then they're dreading it for the rest of the day, wondering how to get out of it. Like maybe you did something and your mom just totally went hound on you. And like, you're going to hear about when you get home, and you got to sit through that stress all damn day.
Mm-hmm.
Or, there's going to be a fight, or you've got to do something.
Well, hold on now. You said this, you don't think this movie's that dark? And you're like, everybody at some point in high school has made out with their teacher. You don't find that odd at all?
We're talking about dark. We're not talking about pornographic, like fantasy.
Right.
We're talking about the nature of the violence and the hopelessness that the kid has during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Would you call making out with an 80s attractive, because oh my Lord, not now, an 80s attractive woman to be a bad thing? Now, I went to Farmington High School for a short time. Okay, so I know exactly what the teachers there look like. So I'm sorry for you, because where Eric and I finished high school, they were much more attractive. No,
I'm going to call a no on that one.
No.
Yeah, our teachers were bleak.
Yes.
At Kirtland Central High School. I can't think of a single one. I was like, ooh,
Remember
they
the
were
business
all-
machines teacher that her face looked like plastic?
I do
Remember her?
Wasn't wax actually in her last name?
It was.
Yes, and she looked like she was made out of wax. So yeah.
Yeah.
And there's we had a just literally almost a sideshow crazy level of teacher back in the day. I don't want to name names or anything like that, but it was pretty scary.
I will if you want. I've got a few names that come to the top of my head.
Don't make editing harder and harder for me.
I will just say that one of these teachers, if you had their math class and you called them up for help, would answer the phone by saying, "Jesus hello loves you. Hello, this is Miss Name shall not be named."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Crazy as a peach orchard boar.
So I think let's talk about the plot of the movie. It's it captures one day in the life of poor Jerry Mitchell, and I do like the editing and the camera work are really done pretty well. And he has one hell of a messy room. What the hell's up with that kid? Whose parents? Where are his parents?
Okay, here's the thing. Not everybody's parents was your mom. Some people actually were allowed to leave a piece of clothing on the ground for more than 5 to 6 seconds.
Oh no!
Okay. So
Yeah.
a little bit out of your realm of experience.
Yeah,
but
I could not. I mean, I have a Hispanic mother, and she would rage clean, every so often, and she would always clean every day, and she would clean pretty stringently on Saturday, but sometimes she would rage clean, and that was like a different level of cleaning where you just knew never to ask her if you wanted to do anything because you was going to say no, so you just went and scrubbed baseboards and other things like that.
if it was in the wrong spot, it got thrown away.
Yeah, it was bad. So
That's my math textbook, Mom. I need that. Shouldn't be on the table.
yeah. And there's like a meme, like if you want to do things, you have to clean in exchange for your freedom. That's true. You better do some chores to get granted any sort of relief from your house. Because if you didn't, you better not even ask.
Well, I remember going to your place and offering, like, what can I do to help you get out of here?
Yeah, it was bad. I do like the very 80s kitchen with that kind of like linoleum floor and brown microwave, and just everything looked reminiscent of brown. Just everything was brown.
Have any of you guys ever tried to microwave anything dry? Yeah, I have. What'd you try to microwave, Dave?
The T-shirt.
T-shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was undies for me.
Does it work?
Sort of.
Or do you just have hot.
They come out a little steamy, like they're on the verge of like they could almost be dry, but it does something and it makes it really, it's not it doesn't soften the clothing. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
So like a T-shirt, you could work that out, but man, I was desperate, had washed clothes, forgot to dry them, and I was out there trying to get some undies and microwave those things because I couldn't get them done, and that was not a pleasant morning.
Wow.
Kind of dry, kind of wet, really scratchy.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds a lot like most dates you had in high school, though.
I remember the old school microwave, and you had to if you were pregnant, you couldn't stand next to it. You had to get out of the way. Those things were like, the old fashioned like Amana radar range. And if you had a pacemaker, you can operate the kind of microwave.
The one thing I liked about, well, there are a few things. I enjoyed the movie. It was kind of fun to watch. But the one thing I liked was that this dude was such a straight arrow. I mean, that looks like everybody was willing to go to bat for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had a buddy that was willing to like plant evidence to get this kid in like massive trouble. His sister was really cool with it. Everybody he ran into, his teachers liked him. Like this, he just must have been like just kind of a solid guy. Not very, probably not a lot of fun at a party, but
yeah, he's dependable Jerry Mitchell.
Yeah.
They trust him with the school store money. And then, when they went to the principal's office, he didn't have a record of ever being there.
Yeah, until he stresses out about getting his ass kicked, and then it's on.
Yeah, just everything falls apart. And speaking of his sister, I kind of like the fact that his sister was surprisingly non-bratty. She was nice and supportive. She was a little intrusive, but she wasn't like your typical shitty bratty Jeannie Bueller sister had it out for him. We talked about his mildly goth girlfriend Franny with the spirit guide Ethan.
That was pretty cool. It was just like, that should have been a red flag right there. Like, you know what? Oh, cool. You're going to talk to Ethan? I'm going to drive to the next town over, and I'll be back in about 5 days.
Mm-hmm. There's something about a witchy lady, a girl with little witchy tendencies. But then you got to starting doing witchy stuff too. So, if you don't believe in witchy stuff, it won't work out.
This guy married your sister, Dave. Does Dave need to hear this? This is stuff that Dave needs to know. This is stuff that maybe we could have the conversation about, but then this is his sister he's doing right here, man.
Jamie could be witchy. Yeah.
Since we're talking about that, and I noticed you put it in the notes, my wife was doing some work at the kitchen table, and we don't have a big house. So the kitchen has got a huge opening and it goes right into the living room, and I'm watching the movie, and she's working on stuff for work. And a certain line is said twice that my wife was not putting herself back into the 80s when she watched this.
Mm-hmm.
But when the guy says, "Are you an F word?" And it's like, oh my God, what the hell? Oh, I can't believe they just said that. Like, babe, this was the 80s. This was the 80s.
Oh,
and
yeah.
When it came around the second time, she was highly incensed. And I'm like, babe, she goes, I know, it was the 80s. It's a different time. Hopefully we've come farther than this. I just can't believe they're saying these things. So thanks for bringing Discord into my house, jackass.
Well, and that's one thing. It was so the pejorative, the F slur, as my son calls it, is the. It was.
I like that you knew pejorative. That's pretty good.
That was thrown around so freely when we were that age. It was just, you just said it, and it just became. You didn't think anything. I mean, obviously because we were so insensitive, but we just said it.
You know what though? We have grown as people.
Yes, we have.
We have grown. We've grown as people. Maybe, well, two of us have. Mm-hmm. I wonder who the third one is that didn't.
Part of me feels bad for Buddy. He's just trying to come into a new school. Everybody has these terrible rumors about him, about the things he's supposedly done at other schools and stuff like that. And then, Jerry gets assigned to do a piece for the school newspaper on him. And Jerry totally screws that up. It's a stupid piece in the paper, so why would I want to look stupid? It just digs himself in a hole, and it just, you and me are going to have a fight. 3:00.
I honestly can agree with him. Like, if the dude was just sitting there holding his Johnson and he slapped me on the shoulder, I would have wanted to have hit him too.
Yes.
So that was totally understandable. Totally understandable. Yeah. To the level of which he took it, though, maybe not so much.
Yeah, when the Vincent, his buddy, his nerdy buddy, plants the switchblade.
And where did Vincent come up with this?
Yeah, exactly. Where did he come up with the switchblade?
Vincent's a little bit ghetto. I like Vincent. Vincent's got a dark side. He's slinging packets at night on the bad side of town. He's got a switchblade, and we all know the switchblade, deadliest of weapons you could have, right next to the Uzi in the 80s.
And butterfly knife. Don't forget the butterfly knife.
That too.
Yeah.
I really
Throwing star belt buckle.
Oh, you got one of those. I know you do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I really want a butterfly knife, but I can't get a damn butterfly knife in California.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't get them.
You can go to Shields and buy one here in Colorado. I'll have to. I wonder if I could ship one to you if that would be illegal.
I don't know.
I'll get you one.
Dude, I'm gonna work the shit out of that. We're gonna come on here in just one podcast, and all people are gonna hear is click, click, click. I'm gonna look up instructional videos and stuff.
I still have one.
I know you have. You brought it up before. I'm jealous. Yeah, I used to have one. I have no idea where it went.
Yeah, I've probably had that butterfly knife for like 30 years or long. No, 40 years. Yeah. Man, I'm old.
Well, you're 51.
I know, 51.
I'm still older than you, but thanks for that, Dick.
So, David, you went to Farmington High School, which is way bigger than Kirtland High School. Did you guys have like a campus security guy that drove around that busted people?
I mean, there was a guy around, but he didn't do much. In fact, I got in trouble because I was spreading a rumor that he was banging one of the teachers. I can't remember her name, but I got called out in the hallway and confronted by the officer and the teacher. It was a pretty big deal, and I think they even called my dad, told him that I was spreading rumors about him. Yeah, but
wait. I want to know what your dad said.
Was.
I don't
want to know what your dad did.
He what? You just said
he had to put down his Coors Light and straighten shit out.
Yeah. I think I got like detention or in-house suspension. I don't remember, but I do remember that he was walking. Like she called me out in the hallway and was like to confront me about spreading rumors, and then our shitty ass security guard comes walking down the hallway too, and she's like, "Oh, why don't you tell Officer so and so what you're saying?" I'm like, "Fuck," and I got 5'7", 115 pounds. I got braces, hair down to my shoulders, fucking scared, and I said, "Well, I heard that you two are banging in the office during lunch hour or something like that." And anyways, yeah, there was a shitty officer, but he didn't do anything because he was too busy banging the teacher on the lunch hour so we could all fight.
You're sticking to that story, what you heard.
Yeah, not let it go.
Not letting it go. All right.
Okay.
You got to let it go, man. Let that anger go. They can't hurt you anymore. So in order to, Jerry does a bunch of Weasley things to get out of fighting Buddy, including stealing from the school store and paying off a bigger guy to fight Buddy. So this is, Jerry turns kind of unlikable during this stretch and is pretty Weasley. I did like how how it went between the big guy Craig and Buddy in the library. That was
okay. That guy, when he got punched. You ever see those infomercials where they're like, "You'll finally be able to pick up that hard to hold bowl," and they pick it up and they're, "Oh my God." That's how that guy fell. That guy fell like an infomercial actor and then took down those bookcases like dominoes.
Yeah, that was fun. Didn't go too well for Craig, and Craig felt so bad that he gave back $300 of the $450 of the $450 that he got paid to fight Buddy. Buddy was just trying to read. He was in the library just trying to read. He gets harassed.
Where else would he be? Honestly, look at the dude.
I like anytime you have a high school movie, there's something going on in history class or literature class that parallels what's going on in the movie. This one was the Achilles versus Hector story that the teacher was so, enjoying, really enjoying the graphic nature of her story.
That was one twisted old chick, man. She was and drug his body through the streets. Damn.
Jerry always went to the bathroom for refuge. Our bathrooms were awful in high school.
People were blowing up the toilets and shit.
Oh my God, yeah.
And doing God knows what. Blaming me.
I never, ever took a dump at school.
Okay, there was that bathroom that was all the way down by Mr. Gallagher's room, by the music room.
Mm-hmm.
First thing in the morning, that was good.
Really? That was the first thing, yeah.
Why did I just get a thumbs down? What the hell's that?
That is weird. Where did that came from? I saw that too. Where did that come from?
Yeah,
it was because you did this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, it does. Oh, it does suggest. I know that's the next one I wanted to do. I wanted to do that. It doesn't do the middle finger, though.
It doesn't do. That's weird.
Yeah, see, look, there it is. Huh. Yeah. Okay. Well, fuck you for giving me a thumbs down earlier, Dave.
It doesn't do it. Damn it. All right.
Yeah. Well, never took a dump at school. I would suffer and, barely hold on until I got home. It was rough some days, but never did. I think kids are more relaxed about it now. They don't really care. But when we were in high school, if somebody was taking a dump at school, everybody's, "Yo, somebody's taking a shit," and they would give them hell,
We'd bully them.
Throw water on them and stuff.
Yeah, throw water on them and soak paper towels and throw it over at him and stuff like that. It was so bad in junior high that our bathroom stalls didn't even have doors on them. They took the doors off the stalls in junior high.
Yep. I had a number 3 once in 8th grade, and it did not matter to me. So I went, and people came in just to revel in how bad it was.
What the hell's a number 3?
When it's not a number 1 and it's not a number 2, it's just kind of somewhere in an ambiguous area in between. I took a number 3.
Mm. I remember we were in PE and some poor kid dared to go take a dump, and we razzed the hell out of him. And we were savages in high school.
I think that's what made this movie so fun, was it brought back all the memories of how things used to be. There was no cell phone. Everything was word of mouth. Like you couldn't text, or it was all about passing notes. And then it was all about.
Well, you could get away with stuff though, because there was no cell phones. There was nobody. It was their word versus your word, and you can just say, "Man, that didn't happen. Where the hell did you hear that?" And you would be fine. Where now it's on video and it's on. There's. Yeah.
At my son's high school, they have security cameras everywhere. Because I would imagine that your son's school, being in Colorado, is enclosed. But in California, because of the weather, it's in pods. There is no indoor seating for the kids. So even if it's raining, they all sit outside. There's covered archways and stuff. They'll just kind of hang out in those and eat their lunch. There's no place to go in. But because of that, they've got security cameras everywhere. Mm-hmm. You couldn't do anything at that school if you wanted to. They'd have it on camera.
And there's that program where you can anonymously tip off people if something's going on. So there's just no, man. Remember the days when you could bully people freely? This is the second episode where we talked about
bullying. Okay, can I talk about, because they fight. They fight, and is what it is. Can I talk about the part of this movie that made me the angriest, and it for no real rational reason? I was sitting there just watching it. Not a great movie, not a bad movie, but it was bringing back a lot of memories, and I was enjoying that. And there was some genuinely funny little bits in it. But everybody comes to this kid's rescue at the end, and they're coming to buy the paper for $1 a sheet to help him out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they're all there. They're all crowded in, right? Everybody's in line. And then that little blonde chick, just out of nowhere because she's pretty, right to the front of the line, was nowhere there before. Bitch cuts to the front of the line and is still speaking to him in a super condescending manner. Irritated the hell out of me.
Yeah. She was not cute. She wasn't
cuter. For the 80s.
Yeah.
For the 80s.
Gothy Franny was cuter than her.
Well, that's because you have issues, but we're talking about for the 80s.
The fight was pretty funny. My favorite part is when Jerry gets punched in the chest, and how he acts when he gets punched in the chest. He's like, oh, and falls back, and it's done pretty well, and it's not choreographed like they're expert fighters or anything like that. It's just kind of a fun, kind of a match where obviously Jerry is overmatched, and everybody helps him out. Even Vincent jumps out of nowhere like a spider monkey on top of Buddy, and then gets summarily kicked in the balls.
I think it would have been great. It would be great if they do a re-release of this. And when he jumps out, somebody in the back, World Star,
World Star.
Yes. Yeah. Round 2, stand him up. You got
he needs some milk.
Yeah, he needs some milk. Yeah. Everything is memed. Everything's for the gram now. You got to record it.
Yeah.
Did you notice the purple mimeograph paper?
Oh, that smell. Just you even saying it just brings that smell. That's the first thing you did, man. You hope that the teacher got done with those. You could just grab your sheet and just huff it.
Smell it.
Oh, get that mimeograph.
I remember as an office aide, they would, you would go and do they had the duplicator. It wasn't a copier. It was the duplicator, and it had the mimeograph purple.
And you had to crank it.
Yeah. Purple jug of mimeograph liquid or ink or whatever, and then you would crank it, and he was back there in a closed room in this office aid, and you would just get high on mimeograph fumes.
Fumes, yeah. My mom was a teacher, so I would go in on the weekends with her to help her get things ready, and would just sit there and crank those things out for her kids for the week. That was the best.
I think they capture it perfectly in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where Mr. Hand is handing out everybody's, paper syllabus, and everybody smells it and turns it over and smells the other side of the paper. I'm like,
yeah,
everybody did that. Yeah, I think that Buddy is sympathetic up to the point where he's going to rearrange Jerry's face with the brass knuckles, and then it's kind of a little bit more justified. But I think Buddy was kind of done wrong up to that point. But yeah, this is a fun movie. It's not like it's like 90 minutes long. Yep. Neil put a picture of a mimeograph machine. Yep, remember that. Get off our lawns. We are old.
Dude, they have them for sale. They have ones that are still working that you can buy.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
If you were old enough to remember what a mimeograph machine is, be sure to take your high blood pressure medication today. Where do you think this ranks up in high school movies? It actually is included in Collider's 80s, best high school movies from the 80s. And Fame is in that. I don't remember Fame very much. I just know it was really early 80s, 1980. As a matter of fact, Fast Times at Ridgemont High is definitely, I think, considered one of the best 80s movies. It holds up really well. Did we do? Yeah, we did this. We did an episode of Fast Times. Sometimes I forget. We've done so many episodes.
We've done so many damn episodes.
Last American Virgin is in there as well, which is our next movie. If you have not seen Last American Virgin, I suggest you watch it. It is crazy. And the stuff that goes on in that movie would, if you watch this with Sammy, it's going to be next level.
I may watch this by myself.
The Last American Virgin, Risky Business. I only remember Rebecca De Mornay from that movie. And Booger. Curtis Armstrong was in that movie.
Yeah. Some kind of wonderful. That's got to be in there. I'm just thinking of 80s movies.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
I love the dude, like, because he was an artist, and then he goes into detention, and the guy's carving stuff into the desktop. He becomes friends with like all the tough punk guys.
Mm-hmm. He's like, here's a picture of my girlfriend without skin. I always remember that. And it's just like a skeleton with a ponytail or whatever. All the Right Moves. War Games. I have not seen War Games in forever. I barely remember. I just remember that it was, shall we play a game? And it was Global Thermonuclear Game.
Would you like to play a game?
Yes, exactly. The Outsiders. I remember watching that quite a bit because my sister and my cousin really enjoyed the guys in that movie. 16 Candles. We've done an episode on. A Nightmare on Elm Street. We've done an episode on The Breakfast Club. We've also done an episode on, we are just hitting those high school movies. Just One of the Guys is in this list, which will be our next movie after The Last American Virgin. Teen Wolf. I remember that movie. I haven't seen it in forever, but what shocks me is that in the middle of the basketball game, he turns into a werewolf, and they just let the basketball game keep going. It's not a big deal. All right, let him play.
Just maybe they've seen some things at that high school. That's nothing.
Weird Science. We've done an episode
Weird.
On. Better Off Dead is one we should do eventually.
They're throwing away a perfectly good white boy.
Curtis Armstrong is also in Better Off Dead, and he plays his the sidekicker buddy for Lane Meyer. And he's like, I've been going to this high school for 7.5 years. I'm no dummy. I think about that all the time. Stand By Me. That's more like a middle school movie than a high school movie. It's a good one. Pretty in Pink. I think we should do that eventually. So we are in negotiations or talks with the ladies from Sisters who've seen it to do another episode. Maybe we should get one of them to join us for Pretty in Pink.
I think you make it sound like way more. We're in negotiations. We have a rider that has to be met.
We're talking to our legal team.
Here's our rider. It has to be a movie.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which of course we've done an episode on. Adventures in Babysitting. Can't Buy Me Love is another one we need to do. It's another 87 teen movie that really captures that middle to late 80s kind of look. 3 O'Clock High is in there, which we just did. We're doing Some Kind of Wonderful. Yep. And Heathers.
Hell yeah. Heathers is great.
Yeah, we got to do that sometime. But tons and tons of high school movies from the 80s of varying qualities. But I think that, I mean, obviously we're still talking about the 80s. And I think, when is the 80s going to be, when are we going to finish strip mining the 80s for ideas? Doesn't seem like it's ever going to end.
You make me feel like I'm responsible for the strip mining of the ideas, and I'm getting a little bit defensive about that.
Yes, so Teen Movie Month next week, The Last American Virgin. If you have not seen 3 O'Clock High, check it out. It's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it. David, what are your thoughts about the movie? Final thoughts?
I really liked it. Honestly, it was good. It was fun, entertaining. It brought me back to a shitty time in my life when I was bullied a lot. And so it was, therapeutic. And that's usually how this podcast is for me. It's therapeutic. It makes me depressed. So.
Well, it's good to have you back. Is there any final bullying stories you want to tell us before we go?
I have one. So a couple years ago, I'm in my 40s. And I'm walking across the parking lot, or I walk out of some store. I think it's some outdoor store. I'm buying some new socks, new pack of tube socks, and hurrying home. And there is an anti-bullying campaign outside, and they waved me down, and I thought, okay, I'll listen to these people talk. I was trying to walk away from them, and I literally got bullied into donating $40 to an anti-bullying thing. I got bullied in Utah, of all places, in a parking lot where I Venmoed $40 just so they would leave me alone. So I just want to say that it never stops.
Thank you, David.
Yeah. There you go.
Neil, how about you? What's your thoughts on the movie and any bullying stories?
Thoughts on the movie? Not bad. It was fun. It was. I think I would have hated this had Ben Stiller been in it instead of Casey Shamasco, because I find Ben Stiller to be annoying when he plays those kind of little hide from your problems kind of guys. Bullying stories. Well, you already made me sound like a dick with the thing with the car. So I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to say bullying is bad, kids. Don't do it, even to people you might hate with a burning intensity.
All right.
How about you, Eric?
Thought the movie was good. I thought it was funny. Definitely a relic of the 80s. Underseen, but it's got a good cult following. When it comes to bullying, I don't think I ever experienced, especially in high school, didn't experience really any bullying. It was pretty I don't want to sound egotistical, but I just sort of popular, so I didn't really get into that kind of stuff. So I probably was a dick to some people, so maybe I was a bully.
Oh,
I don't know. If I ever was a bully, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make people feel bad if I was obnoxious. I'm 100% sure that I was obnoxious and probably hard to tolerate, because most people are when they're 17, 18 years old. So yeah, I will apologize for that.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that I've done anything wrong or have done, but let's say by chance that let's just go to a world where let's just set up a random thing. Like maybe I did, not saying I did or didn't, but if I did, well, that's not who I am now. The only people I am here to bully is you and Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently.
Emotional bullying.
Emotional bullying. Well, and your wife, Dave's sister, gets upset when I say mean things to Dave. So there it is. She is your Vincent. Your sister's the one who's going to go hide in the switchblade in my car. Ride or die.
Right.
But then again, hey, free switchblade.
That's right.
I will say that having an older sister did help me prevent me from getting bullied, probably, because she had this weird reputation of being mean. I don't know if she was mean. She wasn't mean to me, but she kind of
You guys smacked the shit out of each other all the time. I don't know what you're talking about. You guys were brutal.
Yeah. But sister's toughen you up, I think, a little bit.
I remember seeing her just walk up and knee you in the balls once at random in the hallway.
Yeah.
But, not saying it wasn't funny. It was hilarious, but still.
Yeah. I think that's what you do when you have siblings. Did you roughhouse with your sister?
Dave?
Oh, yeah, totally.
I remember.
Yeah, I used to beat the hell out of them, or they beat the hell out of us.
You guys had the circle. I remember you guys had Jamie talk about the circle. You would get into the circle and beat each other up.
We would challenge each other. Meet me in the circle in 10. We'd go in the circle and we'd fight. And I remember Dad would sit there and drink a beer and watch. And he was okay with the girls hitting us. But the second we were like started to get the upper hand and we reared back with our fists, he's like, "Don't hit your sister, God damn it!" And then we'd look at him and be like, "Fucking like hit him," And then it was on. Then he never got up and stopped it. He would just yell, "Don't hit your sister," and keep drinking beer, and we keep hitting her sister. But it was a good time. I do remember. I want to say this, that I came home from school early, and they were there, and they were with their friends, and I don't know what they were doing, but it ended up I got my face put in the toilet. I got hit with a tennis racket and kicked in the nuts. And that was, and I remember Daryl laying in the driveway crying. So I don't know what happened to him, but in that span of 15 minutes, that happened from our sisters. And then they ran from the house. So bullying is real. And I'm a good kid and I didn't deserve it.
It wasn't the case of that weird, like one twin feels the pain of the other one kind of thing.
Yeah. Maybe they were just beating the shit out of him. Yeah. Maybe they're just beating the shit out of him and I was feeling it.
I even remember roughhousing with you and your brother when you were young, because you were like the little brothers I never had.
Yeah, you used to beat the hell out of us all the time.
I met Dave one time when we were just out of high school, because all like you, Jamie, and I were going to go to a movie, and we were going by her house to pick her up, and then you and your brother were running around by like a bunch of little dicks, and I remember Eric just messing you guys up, and you just loved it like a bunch of little puppies. Yeah.
Yeah. Memories. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Join us next month. Next month. Let me start that again. Thank you everybody for joining us. We'll be back next week with The Last American Virgin, and we appreciate you listening to us. We're on Instagram. We're on Threads. We're on Facebook. So check us out there. If you want to contribute to the cause, buymeacoffee.com. Look up the Retro Video Store. We appreciate it. And thanks a lot.
Have a good week, everybody.
Go bully somebody and have a good week. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Retro Video Store podcast.